Very popular. I don't know if it's me or not me.
Okay.
Welcome to the January 5th, 2026 meeting of the Transportation Committee. My name is Jason Pomerantz, and I'm the chair of the committee. Tonight we are joined by Assistant District Manager Brendan Berth. The meeting is called to order at 7:01 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law requires all committee members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and the person last name displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the meeting is adjourned. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person, you can raise any questions.
The microphone is echoing. We can't hear you directly.
Thank you. I'm not on here.
You're better with what you just said.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, I just wasn't speaking, enunciating to the microphone. Most of you know the spiel. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person, you can raise any questions that you have by raising your hand. There's time following the committee's discussion. We will field questions from the public. We need a volunteer to take minutes for tonight. If you're able to take minutes, please let us know. Do we have a volunteer?
Mine, I did it twice last year.
Thank you, appreciate you. Can I volunteer, tell you? Excellent. Thank you very much.
Template after the meeting.
Okay. All right, we will now take attendance by roll call. Brendan will conduct the roll call.
Committee members, I will call your name. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce if there is quorum. Michael Cohen. Present. B. Disman.
Present.
Maya Donahue.
Present.
Brock Friedman.
Present.
Jason Fromowitz.
Present.
Eric Goldberg won't be with us tonight. Sean Lamoureux.
Present.
Anna Picior.
Present.
Omar Qureshi, I do not see. Marion Rowe.
Present.
Larry Shire.
Present.
Dave Perzo.
Present.
Jerry Weinstein.
Present.
Excuse me. And I do not see David Wood, but we do have a quorum.
All right, thank you, Brendan. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and is reflected on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing no objection, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from December's meeting will be sent to the committee for review ahead of next month's meeting. Thank you, Miriam, for putting them together on time. I apologize for not reviewing them on time. And all right, next we will set some ground rules. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, these are our ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question about committee business or you wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. Members of the committee unable to attend in person, if you have a question about committee business, you can raise your hand through Zoom and I will identify you so you can speak. All committee members, it is extremely important that only one person speak at a time so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. The chat function for committee members present via Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties that you are having or state in writing information like an email address that was already stated out loud on the record during the meeting. All right, we will start off tonight's agenda. Colleen has requested to save a report to the end of the meeting. So we will start off with Department of Transportation presentation on Park Avenue vision plan, which aims to redesign the streetscape of Park Avenue between 46th Street and 57th Street. And you guys have the floor.
Amazing. Colleen, do you want to do a brief intro or should we jump right
Sure.
in?
Yes, I will definitely do a brief intro. So, thank you tonight, CB6, for hosting us this evening, where we'll be delivering our Park Avenue Vision project. Along joining me is my colleagues from DOT and from MTA, as well as our consultant. And our consultant is going to be giving the presentation. So thank you so much for allowing us to give this presentation this evening. Thank you.
Amazing. And I'll start off just briefly. My name is Nick Petnati. I'm Deputy Director of Urban Design for New York City DOT. Nice to see some of you again. We're excited to be able to brief the board on our effort to reimagine Park Avenue. This is an effort long in the making. I'm sure many of you are very much enmeshed in the development of this, but we're excited to have the team from Star White House. We've got a multidisciplinary team on board that's going to run through this presentation. This is really stemming from all of the work that went into the East Midtown rezoning, and is a close collaboration as well with our partners at the MTA, who are also joining us here, and we'll give a brief update as part of this slide deck. But we really see this as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reimagine Park Avenue in concert with MTA's work to rehabilitate the train shed underneath the avenue. And so we're excited by this opportunity. We've been able to bring on a really great team. They've put in a lot of work so far in doing the kind of existing conditions analysis. And so this is a great time for us to come and speak with you. We're really in the engagement part. We want to hear from you, want to understand what's working, what's not working, where we can go, what are the things we should be thinking about. And we'll be back in the near future as well to talk through some of the design ideas. So with that, I think I will turn it over to Michael Haggerty and Ashwarya from the Star White House team, and they'll run through this presentation, and then we're here for questions. But otherwise, thanks again for the opportunity.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear us?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Haggerty. I'm with Star White House Landscape Architects and Planners. Laura Starr is also here from the firm, and Ashwarya. Can you go to the next slide, Ashwarya? Yeah, so we're excited to share our progress and hear from you tonight on this project. And I think we're going to give an overview of the project scope, and then share the work that the team has been doing over the last few months to assess the site, and then share a bit about the approach for the vision and the design for Park Avenue. Next slide. Next slide. And one more. Okay. So as you all know, the focus for the Park Avenue vision is Park Avenue from 46th Street up to 57th Street. This is north of Grand Central, and an important commercial corridor in the city, but also adjacent to commercial and residential neighborhoods. So while it's a place that people work, it's also a place that people visit, and a place that many people who live in the neighborhood and Community Board 6 go to. Next slide. It's an important landmark corridor with 5 historic landmarks, and also part of a family of avenues in Midtown that really connect some of the great Manhattan open spaces and institutions. Next slide. As you're aware, the city has also been developing a vision for Fifth Avenue, which is moving to the next phases of implementation. And what this diagram is showing is the framework that the vision for Fifth Avenue adopted, and some of the streets and areas that complement that and can connect to that effort. Next slide. So again, we're looking at 46th Street up to 57th Street. And the area, the southern 3 blocks of the corridor are currently under construction in coordination with 270 Park Avenue. Next slide. So overall, you know, this project, the goal is to develop a vision that's really going to reinforce Park Avenue as an important corridor in the world, and also to enhance and strengthen the corridor as a neighborhood asset. And it's important to recognize that all of this is happening in coordination with the repairs and replacement of the MTA train shed that sits below Park Avenue. We're going to share a little bit more about that. Next slide. So it's about a year-long process. We started at the end of last summer. We've been working since then on doing all of the groundwork, collecting information and surveying the site, getting the information that we need to work on the vision, and the technical coordination that goes along with that. We're also engaging stakeholders throughout the year, meeting with you, community boards, the elected officials. We're working with the Grand Central Partnership and East Midtown Partnership to coordinate engagement with the property owners along the corridor. We'll be working over the winter and into the early spring to develop a vision and concept for Park Avenue. And then the summer and fall to bring that together into a technical report and a public vision for the corridor. So at the end of this, you know, we'll have a concept design from 46th to 57th Street. We'll have individual block designs, and you know, we'll have renderings and visualizations of what all that will look like, as well as technical documentation to support DOT and MTA to move to the next phase. Next slide. Ben, do you want to talk a bit about the train shed?
As senior manager with MTA's construction and development. And we are working on replacing the roof of the train shed, which sits right below Park Avenue. So I think for most people, you know, Park Avenue is like a busy vehicular corridor, but really, as this graphic shows, it is the roof of all of the trains that go along our Metro North routes to Grand Central Terminal. So all 3 lines converge at 125th Street above ground, and then eventually the tracks, they go from the viaduct up there to the tunnel, and about 57th, that's what everything south of 57th is what we consider the train shed roof. And this serves 200,000 riders daily, about 750 trains. And again, this is just like a visual of sort of how these tracks look. So we have 2 levels to reach both platforms at the upper level and lower level of Grand Central. So this cross section is around 48th Street, but is descriptive of what a lot of Park Avenue looks like there. Next slide. So we included this graphic in our last capital plan. Basically, the MTA has been monitoring the train shed roof for the last 20, 30 years. And, you know, simply repairs could not keep up with deterioration rates. So on the left, what you see, 1984, we noticed some issues from water infiltration getting in and affecting the steel and concrete that holds our structure together. And then on the right, you can see by 2023, this has just become a problem. And without significant intervention, this could be a big risk to our system. And so in the last capital plan, the 2025 to 2029 capital plan, the MTA included $1.7 billion to train shed roof and repair, as well as repairs at Grand Central Terminal. And with the East Midtown rezoning and new development that's occurring in the area, we've been working to sort of coordinate that work with the new developments that are going up. So this little blue area you see on the right, that is the initial construction that we were able to do in conjunction with the development of 270 Park Ave, the new Chase headquarters. Like the solution of what we're going to have to do is we'll have to really pull Park Avenue and the surrounding streets down fully apart down to the steel stringers, and we're going to put in a waterproof membrane that will allow us to, you know, create a watertight environment for a long time. And so the construction it's quite intrusive. We really will have to pull up the streets, and we've been working on that. This is a photo of the work as it was occurring around 270 Park Avenue. So we've been in very close coordination with DOT, with traffic rerouting. And I'm sure for folks in the community board, they've probably walked by some of these construction sites, have seen it. But that is the solution that we're working on to really, you know, fully pull it down, rebuild this waterproof membrane, and move utilities and upgrade utilities where it works. Next slide. Approach to this construction. So in green, that's sector 1. That's the work that occurred around 270 Park Avenue. There's a small section of that that still needs to be done, where the building hoist, the construction hoist is still there, but as they pull that down, we'll be able to finish sector 1. Sector 2 is the area that you see in orange, that's from 46th to 50th Street. We've just announced that we'll be having a contractor that will be able to complete that work. And we're hoping to complete that in this capital plan, so between now and 2029. And then sector 3, that work is going to be in conjunction with Vornado and the new 350 Park development. And the areas that you see in purple, those are going to get funded in future capital plans. So that's the approach that the MTA is doing to fix the Grand Central train shed. And, you know, DOT has worked and been closely coordinated with us with their Park Avenue vision. And so we're working to align our construction schedules with the work that they're hoping to do as we rebuild Park Avenue. So that's the update from the MTA, and I'll be sticking on if we have questions at the end of the presentation. But with that, I will pass it back to Michael and DOT.
Okay. All righty. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm gonna share some of the site assessment work we've done, as well as design approaches. Many of you may have seen these photos before. There was a brief 10-year period around the 1920s when Park Avenue had wide medians that had planting, circulation, and seating areas. And it was in the 1920s, with the mass production of automobiles, the roadways were widened and the medians were narrowed. Next slide. So here's a couple photos from today. Today, there's a variety of conditions out there. The medians are 20 feet wide. There's lawns and trees and shrubs, and also important art programming that happens in the medians. Next slide. These diagrams show the evolution of the medians. So in the beginning, when Grand Central was being constructed, they were just paved and striped. And then for that brief period in the 20s, there were medians with seating areas. That's the second diagram. But then for the last 100 years, we've had 20-foot wide medians. And on the right are the future condition. So the medians will be widened from 20 feet to about 42 feet wide. There'll be 3 lanes of traffic on either side, and there will be 2 different types of medians. These 40-foot by 200-foot medians, like in the middle, and then medians that have left turning lanes, and those will alternate as you go up the avenue. Next slide. So this is just showing some of the typical conditions today. 20 feet wide, 200 feet long, with pedestrian refuges on either end of the median. Next slide. And this overlay shows 1 lane of traffic being reduced in either direction, and the medians widened to about 42 feet. Next slide. We'll talk about this a little bit more, but the medians do sit on the roof of the train shed. And so currently the soil depths are very minimal, which is one of the main constraints on planting trees and other landscape in the medians. Next slide. So this corridor, it's significant for the network of public spaces and plazas and privately owned public spaces, which this map is showing. This is something that's really unique in Manhattan, that it's a legacy of mid-century modernism, but it's also changing today as sites are being redeveloped and publicly owned private spaces are also being improved. Next slide. And while there are not street trees on Park Avenue, since it's sitting on top of the roof, there is a variety of landscapes and gardens that are part of the plazas and public spaces. So you think about the fountains at Seagram's Plaza, or some of the step planters that are part of plinths around the buildings. So we're mapping all of these to take into consideration how the vision and design for the blocks can integrate with this network of landscapes and public spaces. Next slide. Okay. One thing that we're looking at pretty closely is the existing landscape. Now, all of this will be removed with the roof reconstruction and replaced, but the existing landscape offers lessons for what's viable today and some of the conditions. And it is a challenging environment for landscape because of the soil depths and sunlight. And one of the things that we found is that the existing trees need to be replaced about every 10 years or so. Next slide. We've mapped the tree species that are out there, and this is helping us understand what's viable. Next slide. And this is another diagram of each block and the tree species that are there, where we're looking at their conditions. Next slide. There's also a variety of ground covers of seasonal plantings and planters that are there today. Next slide. And then, of course, the Fund for Park Avenue seasonal planting, which is an important part of the character and the dynamism of the corridor. Next slide. And we've also looked at the existing configurations of landscape. So all of this is to say, you know, we're taking cues and lessons from the existing landscape. But one thing about the current condition is that it is currently all landscape and ornamental and hasn't had the kind of public space for circulation and seating that we had 100 years ago. Next slide. Okay. Next slide, please. So I'll just talk through some of the considerations that we're looking at. So one of the first big considerations is coordination. So you can think of Park Avenue and the medians as this kind of layer of infrastructure, and the train shed is sitting beneath, and the road and the medians are really sitting on top of that. We cannot have water drain through that roof, and we can also not penetrate the roof. And in addition, we'll need to coordinate with MTA as the train shed is improved in phases. So this is a big part of the work, is the coordination. Next slide. And we'll be looking at a couple different things in the vision. First of all, what is a design approach that creates consistency and unity across the corridor and benefits everyone? But then also, how are we creating block by block designs that are really specific to the unique uses and conditions of each block? And as I said before, we'll also be looking at interim conditions in response to the phasing of the roof replacement. Next slide. So some of the considerations that we're going to be looking at. First of all, I want to say that this is not the design. This is a diagram that we created in order to illustrate the kinds of factors that we'll be looking at. So first of all, landscape, planted areas, seeding, creating planters that can have soil depth for viable landscape. We'll also need to think about the maintenance of the landscape, as well as how that landscape drains over to Lexington Avenue or to the sewers on Madison Avenue. Next slide. We'll be looking at materials and programming. So how does the materiality of these of the medians integrate with the materiality of Park Avenue? How are we providing spaces for different types of programs? And we also will be looking at whether there are concessions. Next slide. And then lastly, the infrastructure that supports all of this. So safety, first of all, through the planters and bollards, lighting that integrates with the district, and then electrical and water supply to support different types of programs. Next slide. Okay. And then wrapping things up here, one starting point is the design for the block for the median outside of 270 Park Avenue. This was designed by the landscape architect Ken Smith with JP Morgan Chase. And this is an important starting point because you've probably seen this design. It has gone through PDC. It offers significant intelligence in terms of the planter design, safety, and utilities. And so this is something that we're coordinating with all of the agencies on taking lessons from this design. Next slide. Yeah, and so that's it from me, and back to Nick.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, team. Again, I think we wanted to open this up for any questions from the board or otherwise. We are continuing to work on our public engagement. We are going to be talking with your counterparts at CB5 in the near future. We also have a public survey that is going. We have a link to that as the last slide in the presentation. So we've got this. We can send this around as well. But we really are looking to hear from folks on this design and on this process, and welcome any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, and happy to address.
Thanks very much. I'll open us up with a brief statement. So for a little bit of context, this actually the project is entirely not within CB6's bounds. However, we do have a seat on the Midtown East Governing Board, which funds this project. I hold that seat, but on behalf of CB6. So I think it's appropriate for us to provide comment for it, but we should just note that it's not within the bounds of CB6. And something we should be just generally thoughtful. But I do think it's appropriate for us to provide feedback and be involved in this process. Michael, go ahead.
Absolutely. I have a question. I see the current Park Avenue of like 4 traffic lanes in each direction. I'm wondering, is it possible to take 1 lane out on each side of the bigger median and then put an offset bike lane, an offset bus lane, I mean, as well? Like, did you go back to the existing conditions, actually? Like over here? there are there are 3 traffic lanes and 1 parking lane. Is it possible to take out 1 drive lane on each side and then put a bus lane in the drive lane over there, the 11-foot one lane away from the parking lane to make it for buses? Like to make it for the M1, M2, and M3 buses.
So, sorry, just so I can repeat and make sure I understand and maybe we can go to the proposed condition, but your question is whether we can take the lane that is essentially closest to the curb but not the parking lane and make that a bus lane for the buses that are along the corridor. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's what I'm proposing.
Gotcha. So I think it's a helpful suggestion is something that we can definitely take a look at. I'll say the basis for the geometry that you're seeing as part of the proposal was that was evaluated under the East Midtown rezoning EIS. And so that's what's driving a lot of the current geometric layout. That's not to say that we can't take a look at additional things like a bus lane. So we'll sort of take note of that and bring that back to folks internal and see what goes into those considerations.
I was thinking about the drive lane, 1 lane away from the parking lane on both sides of it.
So 1 lane out.
Great.
Let's go to Larry.
I'm now unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I note that in the wintertime, especially this winter where there's been snow and ice, unlike we've seen for a few years, the Department of Sanitation has used a tremendous amount of road salt. They've pre-treated the roads and arterials and streets prior to anticipated snowstorms, and oftentimes they don't come, and there's plenty of salt just filling the air. Now that cannot be either healthy for the plants that you'll have or for the materials that you're using, the pavement and the drainage. How has this been figured into the plans for this new construction?
So I thank you, Larry. I think this is a great point, and definitely something that the team we haven't gotten to the point where we've specified any materials or plants yet, right? So we're still working through that. But I think salt tolerance is definitely something that the team will be taking a close look at with regard to the species. Obviously, we have been able to, and we will to take a look at the existing plants. We've had some initial conversations and we'll continue to have conversations with the Fund for Park Avenue that's done a lot of the horticulture along Park Avenue for many, many years. And we really want to make sure that we're learning from those best practices and lessons. I'll say in all likelihood, we are looking at raised planting beds because of the soil volume issues that Michael mentioned. So that will give us some protection from that salt that's being spread on just the ground. And then obviously from a materiality perspective, we definitely want to look at stuff that is durable. So we'll be looking at precedent across the city, sort of how that's worked. We still want to deliver a world-class corridor as well, though. So we're trying to balance all of those things. It's again, I think a really important consideration, and certainly I've noticed it even walking around my own neighborhood, just how much that salt sits on the ground and gets on your shoes, and it sticks around. So I appreciate that concern.
Back on the salt question.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for this. First of all, I think this is fantastic, and we're, correcting one of the great auto-centric mistakes of the 20th century. So this is terrific. Piggybacking on the salt question, to what extent is that road salt responsible for the accelerated decay of the train shed? And will the materials used in the train shed going forward be more resilient to salt? Or are we going to sort of have to repeat this cycle in the medium-term future?
I would say that the salt has been a major factor in the deterioration, the water and the salt and the intrusion. And I don't know about changing the tolerance of salt for the materials, but the construction of the reconstruction of the roof does want to prevent as much water and the salt water and other chemicals that are coming through from getting in. So it's more of a case of just trying to keep all that stuff from entering into the train shed and deteriorating the steel structure and the concrete inside.
Right. Yeah, I just want to echo that this is a great project and going to be great for the city, great for Midtown. Just wanted something for the DOT to consider. Right now, cyclists coming southbound have 7th Avenue or 2nd Avenue, and there's nothing really in between. And the current iteration of 5th Avenue design took out the bike lane. This doesn't have a bike lane either. So it's kind of baking in the current infrastructure that there's just southbound 7th Avenue and southbound 2nd Avenue with this large gap. So I'm not asking for an answer, but just for DOT to take that comment into consideration.
Specifically, you're suggesting that perhaps this includes accommodations for bikes?
Either this or 5th Avenue. I think there should be something between 7th and 2nd. So it's either this or 5th, I think.
Yeah.
A question and just an idea, or two questions, I guess. Are you talking to City Bike about potentially, while you're at it, adding docks or electrified docks, especially if you're adding new electrical infrastructure? While you're already tearing up the street? And then also, who's managing the programming and the horticulture? I might have missed that piece.
So on the City Bike piece, we will certainly be talking with the City Bike team, both on the DOT side that does the larger sort of planning, as well as the company that operates. And then on the programming and maintenance side, we've are in close coordination and conversation with the two bids, Grand Central Partnership and East Midtown Partnership, as well as the Fund for Park Avenue, and they'll continue to be key stakeholders as we develop the design.
Sorry, Mike. Good.
I had a question with the design ideas that you're looking at. I think it's great that you're looking at the historical perspective of what was on Park Avenue before, but I was wondering if you've looked at other examples. Like, I don't think what's on Upper Broadway is the best example, but looking at perhaps what's wrong there and how to implement that into this. And my other concern is Palm Avenue in Boston basically has generally what this would be the idea for, but how do you prevent or warn pedestrians about walking through all these medians when you have crossing traffic?
So I don't know, Michael, if you want to speak. I know the team has actually done some pretty extensive precedent analysis, looking at different solutions throughout the city, as well as both nationally and internationally. We're still in that process. And again, if you have any examples that you think are particularly great, we're all ears or open to that. And then we're also looking very closely at that kind of median to median crossing and what that means, how that functions, how that works with turning vehicles, to make sure that can happen in a safe manner.
Let's go back to Brendan.
Just a very quick question regarding the survey. Is it something that you just want board members to respond to, or is it something that you'd like feedback from the general public? Because if you want feedback from the general public, we can share that in our e-newsletters.
Definitely both general public and board members. We want to try to get as much feedback as possible. There is both sort of a question by question kind of piece, as well as the ability to leave comments on a map. And both are certainly helpful. So we really want to try to get as wide an audience as possible. We're also looking to do more engagement within the district, and we'll keep the board posted on that as well. But we're definitely trying to reach as many folks as possible. And as Michael mentioned, and as was mentioned, we think the members of CV6 are a really key user group here, right? Like, they're the ones that are going to be hopefully visiting and using this new public space, and we want to hear from you all.
The survey is designed with branches with unique questions for different kinds of users. So there's a question in there like, do you live near Park Avenue, or do you work on Park Avenue, or do you commute, or are you a tourist? So it's really designed to try to capture the diversity of perspectives of people who use the corridor. So it would be wonderful if you all can share it so that we achieve that. And we should also mention that this is building on engagement that started a few years ago. In the early planning stages of Park Avenue, there was another survey with a couple thousand responses. And so that's something we've taken a look at and are really adding to now. So appreciate your help with that.
Going off the bike lanes, I would really like to see bike lanes on Park Ave, even if Fifth Ave includes them again. I think that it's a great opportunity, given how wide the street is, for thinking about equitable street space. Also a bus lane, as mentioned earlier. So then we have equitable street space between pedestrians, bus riders, bicyclists, and motorists. Otherwise, I think it's a great proposal, and thanks for your work on this.
I'll make a quick question. Will the existing trees be removed / destroyed, as a part of the reconstruction? I assume yes.
Unfortunately, yes. There's no real way to tear up and redo the train shed roof without it. As much as I'm a landscape architect by training, I would love to figure out a way to save them, but that would be very challenging.
Yep, understood. Unfortunately. Anything we guys? No obligation. Okay, good. So yeah, we have a couple questions from the public. First one here. Will this proposed redesign impact traffic?
Yeah, so as was mentioned earlier, the proposed redesign in terms of taking the 2 lanes was analyzed as part of the East Midtown rezoning EIS. So all of those impacts were studied and sort of thought through as part of that process. Obviously, the agency will continue to monitor, but given the volumes, the turn lanes that are proposed, the geometry, and again, I'm not the traffic engineer, so I can defer to others on the team. But understanding is no, there won't be an impact to traffic on that front based on what was analyzed so far. Obviously, we'll continue to take a look at that, especially in light of some of the comments around bike lanes and bus lanes and how that plays out. But that's the sort of what's forming the basis of this proposal as it stands.
All right, and then one more question in the Q&A here on Zoom. If tall trees are difficult to support in shallow soil, does the design team have any other techniques they can employ to provide shade for folks using the median?
So definitely, I'll turn it over, Michael, to you guys. But that's one of the key things that I think we're looking at to really make sure that we can deliver a nice corridor.
Yeah, maybe Aishwarya, if you can go back to the Ken Smith slide, I think it's just helpful to look at. There we go. Yeah, so you're right, Courtney, because of the roof, you can't put a tree in the ground like you would a street tree. The trees have actually been removed from this diagram, but those 2 planters that you see, those planters have seat walls and an outer wall that allow for like 36 inches of soil, which is what you typically need, 36 inches, 42 inches for a street tree. And so that's something that we're going to be studying is like, how can you create these planters that can also have seating on them, can be sculptural, but provide the kind of depth that you need for shade trees. So that's design study that's to come. And I would also mention that shade is important. But one of the things that we also noticed when we did shadow studies of this area is because of the tall buildings, a lot of the road is in shade for much of the day. And in addition, because of the tall buildings, there's a lot of wind going around. So one of the things that we'll be doing as we develop designs is also studying the microclimate. So how do you create shade, but how do you also buffer wind? How do you address areas that don't receive a lot of sunlight to begin with? So thank you for your question.
Looks like there's one more question here. Does the placement of the bollards allow for wheelchair access?
Yes, they will be designed to make sure that they're ADA compliant, along with any of the pedestrian ramps or connections. We want to make sure that the spaces are fully accessible to users of all abilities.
Great. All right. Seeing no more questions here. Oh yeah, go ahead.
If we don't do a bike lane in the roadway, which I understand the many reasons that might be, are we running a risk that it just sort of becomes a bike way as the only protected thoroughfare for those blocks? Are we sort of welcoming a delivery worker understandably using that for all the blocks that they need to travel?
You mean the middle piece, that's open?
Yeah.
So again, I think the bike piece is something that we hear. We're definitely going to take a closer look at that across the corridor. I think that's again, it's an important piece. This is really the starting point, and I go sort of where we're at. I think there are again, if we can't accommodate a bike lane for some reason, I think there are strategies that we can use to make this not feel like a sort of a bike highway in the middle. Or maybe we do want to encourage, right? I don't think we've yet sort of landed on that piece, but it is definitely something that we'll take a very close look at and report back to the board on as we further develop some of those designs.
Okay. Thank you guys very much. Everybody make sure you please, we'll share the link to the survey, encourage everybody to fill that out, and we'll share it around in the news there as well. And thanks so much, guys, for the presentation and for your time and for answering all of our questions. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the time.
Okay,
Appreciate it
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, we will now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is request for bus stops by Academy Express for the NYU shuttle service. I will not list all of the bus stops. Yeah, so. Do you have a question, Michael?
Is someone from NYU coming tonight?
Oh, yeah, right, repeat.
He's gonna speak into that.
Oh, okay, one second. On Wednesday, or one second. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Start walking a little slow.
No, take your time.
Hi, Colin.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi there. First I'll say, my name is Patrick Condren. Nice to meet most of you. I haven't seen everybody face to face like I used to for many years. And thank you for your volunteer service, because I go back and understand that on both sides. And again, thank you for your time. My name is Patrick Condren. I did not become a lobbyist or a consultant when I was a kid. I grew up in the bus business. So it's lifelong here in New York City, and pleased, to have gone into it, stay with it. And many years we operated one of the franchise bus companies here in the city when everything was private. Academy's been around for 56 years. I'll tell you about Academy for one second. We work very tightly with the MTA. They were the ones who got the call in COVID when, what can we do if the subway system gets shut down tomorrow morning? We're the ones who come up with the thousands of buses within 100 miles to make it all happen. Having said that, Academy is the contractor to NYU and has been for over 20 years. I'll give you a brief history, but just a snapshot if I may. These are 6 routes specifically, and I'm joined here tonight with Tony Bloom, who's the operations manager. Thank you, Tony. You've been with us for 100 years, so we're all getting gray over. But Tony, day to day, is on target in any details operationally that I might not be aware of. And these are 6 routes that include 6 different community boards, including community board 6 here, which is I'm a resident of, strangely enough, on the other side. And 10 to 12 years ago, the ICBPS came, but the 6 routes, 10 to 12 buses on this, if you can picture this. It's not a big service, but it's an established 20-year plus service. It operates 185 days a year. It doesn't operate every day. But when it does operate, it operates from 7 a.m. to 12 midnight, serving the spots that are all MTA bus stops and have been operating during that time because we coordinate with DOT with bus stop authorizations. So this began, as you guys know, because you're the hotbed, community boards 5 and 6 have to deal so much here, that the 17 and 18 stops that we have here came about because of the intercity bus permit systems that started with the downtown curbside buses that we all know about from New York, Boston, New York, Washington, have operators. And during that time, there was need to be a control for the bus stop pulling curbside. So that was in 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17. By 2018, 19, they said, we ought to do shuttle buses too and coordinate in the portal, which is correct. to do this and say, those shuttle systems should be coordinated and worked out and go through the community board process too, to say, we're here, you know, serving the riding public, who in this case is under contract service, not commuter service, which we are part of Academy as part of the National Transit Database. And all the ridership that we have, the money gets funded and generated, goes to the MTA, which fine with that. We also operate with New Jersey Transit in coordinated areas elsewhere. But notwithstanding that, the ICBPS is what we're here tonight. It's called the Intercity Bus Permit System. But real life, it's the bus permit authorization system. And it makes eminent sense. If I'm living in a spot on Second Avenue, I want to know who's outside. And that goes back when I was an operator and had to come, you know, to different areas and say, why do you want it here? Can we move it here? That's the idea. We're here tonight. So we've coordinated primarily in this particular case, in this particular community board, these 17 spots, which have mostly been operated for 17 years. I'm sorry, 20 years, but 17, 18 stops. Individually, they're all at MTA bus stops and they have been operating. So they all got applied for. Tony, in 2019, 20, you got it all in, we're ready to go, set for public hearings, and COVID hit. So we spent more time a little bit going back to it. And Larry was on the committee back then, and this was there back in the day. And having said that, we came to you in a different time, but there were 3 or 4 that had to be changed out of the 17 or 18. Time went by, things were pushed off. So that was literally about 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, last time we spoke to you online. So we're back to request review, consideration, and make ourselves available to answer any questions, specifically on any parts of the service that you'd like to know about tonight. I could talk for an hour about the bus business, but I won't. And but if you have questions on that industry too. Tony, is there anything you want to add that I may have about the services?
No, basically, I think you got everything. You know, the service itself, you know, it's catered around these particular stops. They're all MTA, so that helps because they're already existing. So it's not going to really take away from anything in addition in these routings. And more or less, you know, like you mentioned, you know, during those periods in the fall and the spring, we'll be running, but during the summer and winter, they're very limited service. So we only ask you for those periods that we're requesting for these stops.
And it's Colleen from DOT. So these stops are expeditious. They're quick pickup and drop off. The users don't have luggages as in the inner city. So these are framed as shuttle stops. So again, it's quick pickup and drop off.
And sorry to clarify, so I know I recall the last time you guys presented to us, a couple years ago. This is a modification from that, previous presentation?
Yes, there are 2 or 3, out of the 17, I think there was maybe 1 or 2 that were not in MTA bus stops. Now they all are. So we were able to correct that. Thank you, Tony. You know, operationally out there, and then we coordinated with MTA. Is that okay? And yes, that's the distinction right now.
Okay, so there's none of this is new then. This is all like existing operations.
Other groups are looking at this as a renewal of sorts because we've been operating it for over 20 years. Then appropriately, you know, the portal, as Colleen can explain, with DOT, they want to know appropriately where they're going to put bus stop signs, and then we're not a full bus. So we want to be compliant where they operated, with contracted by NYU. So
Yeah,
we're looking.
Yeah, so this is nothing new. We've actually approved shuttle stops in the past. And what this is, you know, bringing forth all of the locations so that the community board is aware of it. And we look at the MTA schedules as well to make sure that their pickup time and drop off doesn't conflict with the MTA bus schedules as well.
Thanks. I've got a question. I know a lot of other major cities with large universities issue transit passes to their students. And that is generally how they handle transportation. I'm curious why NYU's model is centered around shuttle service as opposed to more utilizing existing public transit options.
Tony and I were the Academy, not NYU.
Okay.
So I
got it.
Apologize,
Sorry.
but we can't answer that one.
Understood. Fair enough.
Don't forget to say it could, but okay.
Okay, sorry.
But I defer to them. They've had a long established service. And I can tell you that's not unusual in other cities. The transit passes have been developing over the years. But many cities, you know, and many universities within those cities have similar shuttle bus systems. And originally, this service, when we started it, was considered a school bus service. It was school service. So we were exempted from bus stop situations back then. Now, you know, they don't consider college, you know, school bus, so it made sense in dealing with those.
And yeah, open up questions for everybody, Micah.
I just wanted to provide a little more light, perhaps, since I was a student at NYU, and I think a lot of these, NYU can manage a little bit more of like what goes on the bus and try to make it safer for students. And I think it's easier for them to provide the free bus for students than giving them a bus pass or something and try to coordinate that with the MTA for the city buses.
I like to point out, I was looking at some, a lot of the M10, 102, and 103 Deferred Avenue buses that the MP has. A lot of them are along the same route, open same stop.
Yeah, is there a question there? Just.
I was wondering, like, this is a question that I wanted to ask about, like, stops, like, there seems to be like a lot of conflict between those two routes. I see there's also another portion of the city. But I wonder about like, if that's a conflict is okay, or is that like, consider like the conflict between two routes, direct competition?
So I think it's intentional, and Colleen, feel free to jump in, but I think it sounds like it's intentional that there's overlap on the, you know, existing bus routes, just utilizing existing stops. Basically, there's no like additional impact on the community because we're using existing stops. And I assume the destinations are different ultimately than the existing routes, so that the buses that go down Third Avenue also likely veer off into not just continuing down Third Avenue, for example.
Good question. It's essentially a continuous service. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, as we could brought the maps, et cetera, but you can catch them online at any time. It's a continuous service to go. But there's 6 different routes, so each one goes with a loop.
We're on the main streets. We don't go on side streets at all. So we do the turnaround, we go to another main street to get back. And it's just a circle. So where we start, we finish.
The permanent spot, the origin spot is 415 Broadway, which, and several of the spots have had bus stops up there for 20 years. And then it says NYU, and that's the start. And then there were several, but as the campus grew and the shuttle bus contract grew, it was a period of over 20 years, and now we are where we are to make sure we be compliant with what's going on with bus stops.
Thanks. Larry, go ahead.
Would you happen to know, Patrick, if this service is available to NYU alumni?
If John Sexton was here, he'd probably say yes, but you know, whatever change of the color there, you know.
It's not available to NYU alumni, but it is available to employees.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
Are you asking for any particular alumni, Larry?
It actually is available for the alumni from NYU.
Well, I just turned to you and asked you if
Yes,
that's what the update.
So yeah, they do. So my understanding, alumni have a different type of ID or pass that you can get. And so show that.
I hope they're very stingy with the pass.
So you're able to ride the shuttle.
Nice.
Thank you for the invitation, Tony.
Yeah.
Well, my observation about having this as an add-on to the New York City bus transportation is that there really isn't a negative, and for the students, they can always take New York City Transit if that's faster and more convenient for them.
And just Patrick, question for you. If the bus, I assume, is on a schedule, and if it gets there early, does it just sit there in the MTA spot? Or does it leave early too? You know what I mean?
I would have to say, I think we let them go, right?
Yes, it's so the schedule's set up so that the bus gets there, loads, it discharges and then continues around. So we never lay over, we never stay there.
We never get there early. and
Yeah,
just
never
wait.
get there, because we set the schedule accordingly, you know, because there's some built-in traffic or whatever. But as the bus approaches, bus loads, and then.
Good question, though, because it goes to the heart of the fact that these are 6 routes within small areas. So, you know, they all go back to 415 Broadway, go in the back, turn the engines off. If there's any layover that requires waiting to reschedule your pullout. Is that accurate? Yeah, it's so we don't, it's one of the few that we really don't have the issue to be sitting somewhere or waiting or some such thing.
And then all these routes and stops that are being presented now, that's no change than what was done last year. Everything's exactly the
I think
same, and this
there-
is just a renewal.
I think there were 2 or 3 or 4 or 3 that were maybe not at MTA bus stops. Now, these all reflect 100% MTA bus stops. Your community board, thank you, and a few others periodically in our own operation. We don't want to pull up alongside park cars. We don't have to. We want to go curbside for safety and keep it going and maintain the timing as we go along. Keep going.
But so you're actually moving 3 of the stops that were not at MTA bus stops to now be at MTA bus stops? Is
Yes,
that right? Okay.
exactly, and that was part of the, or just because and what you would, we all know, we bought this building and that building and moved this building to that one, and so we had to move with them. But we didn't want to be applying for bus stops and blocking, local people from parking or load and go with their trucks in commercial spots. So
Great.
this is what we worked on one by one. And Tony was the guy out there. One by one.
Anything else from the committee? Otherwise, I'll go. We got a question from the public. No. All right, we could start with Gerard. You'll have the floor in a moment. All right, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, Gerard.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. My question about Academy Bus, in the past, and it continues today, Academy Bus has been a particular problem with idling buses, where the bus will sit at a bus stop. The driver may not be on the bus. He might be asleep in the back of the bus. He might be reading newspaper in his chair, in a driver's seat, but the bus will sit there 15, 20 minutes sometimes idling. I've had experience I'm glad to see B. Disman is still with us. I was on the board when she was there years ago. And I remember having public hearings on these private buses, and the companies always deny that they're a problem, but yet the problem remains. And so my question is whether or not Academy Bus would be in a position, would agree to a written agreement with the city and Community Board 6 to monitor its drivers to ensure that they don't idle their buses, and that would make a monthly report to the board as to what their findings are.
Well, this is a big issue, as you know, probably, I think I recognize your name, that the idling situations addressed to the private sector in buses right now is a nationwide issue. Especially when the MTA is running big signs saying clean air buses, which is a hybrid bus, when our buses are actually the same buses, the air sometimes coming out is cleaning the air going into the buses, so we're sort of cleaning the air. The idling's a big issue across the MTA and everybody else. We've had to deal with it. Every transit agency, we MTA here in New York, but every transit agency across the country. Academy is working with all the manufacturers and the OEMs to get more modern, newer buses. And in fact, in many years, we're the largest electric fleet in New York City for some time on the other contracts. There's other hybrids that we utilize, and we are more efficient than many of the others. The idling issues is restricted to 3 minutes. The federal guidelines are 15. There is an ongoing conversation and working it out with DEP right now to have some agreements with the bus industry here in New York City. So with that said, the conversation is well addressed because the old days are over. The air going in and out of a bus is often cleaner than the air than it was in the past. So idling buses to require air conditioning for the people on the bus. The driver on the bus, it's a safety issue. It's heat in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. It's a complication, whether it's a transit bus or a private bus. And we are actively engaged with DEP in a resolution for this for the industry across. And Academy is the largest company in the private sector in New York City. And we are very much part of the conversation with the city of New York and DEP and the EPA actually too.
Thank you, Mr. Conway. I think this is a management issue, though.
Okay, thanks. Moving on, let's recognize Miriam. You have the floor.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, we hear you. Good.
I live in the CB4 and I worked with a lot of passion on improving the bus stops with seats and shelter from severe weather, which we're having almost daily, it seems. And as I think everybody knows that we were very elated when the DOT said that all bus stops over time incrementally will actually have seats, which was one of the things that we asked for on 23rd Street. We didn't expect that it would reverberate, but the whole city, so we were very pleased with that. Since these are MTA buses also, what is the plan? Will seats will eventually apparently happen now. Shelter from severe weather is really an issue. Is there any plan to address and request that from the DOT?
This question for Colleen.
Whoa, is there a question?
Hey, Miriam, it's Colleen. How are you? So
Hi.
I'm well aware of the request that you've been asking because I know you go to Community Board 4 meeting as well as CB5. And we've been working very closely with our contractor to install shelters citywide. As you know, some of the locations may not be feasible because there are criterias that we use
I know.
to determine feasibility. And we're trying our best to install seating where a shelter is not feasible. We can definitely keep you posted and share with you like new shelters that we've installed recently and locations where we've installed seatings. And we always encourage folks to, write to us, email myself or the community board with any locations that they have in mind that they would like us to evaluate.
So you're saying it's coming from requests from the public, but it isn't a plan like the DOT just announced for seats that it's just going to happen now because this has been, they've committed themselves to getting seats throughout all of the buses in the city that currently don't have seats over time. But this is not the same plan for shelters, that it isn't going to be installed wherever it's possible. It has to come from a request, which may or may not happen, but even though it might be needed.
So again, we will survey all of the bus stops citywide to determine if they are feasible for shelters. And again, we have a set rule of criterias that make the determination. But again, we encourage, constituents to always contact the community board or the Manhattan Borough Commissioner's office, one-on-one if they have a request that they would like to send us, aside from that.
And do you mind if I jump in here? Hi, Danielle Zuckerman, Borough Commissioner. Thanks, Miriam. So the announcement that was recently made about bus stop seating, you're right that we're going to be proactively adding seating to bus stops across the city. In some places that'll be shelters where feasible, in some places that'll be benches, and that's going to be phased over about 10 years. So if there are locations that you want us to prioritize and take a look at sooner, if you send those to us, we can get the street furniture unit on those more quickly.
What I'm trying to clarify in my understanding is there a parallel plan to make all bus stops that currently don't have shelters have them, like the plan is for now adding seats throughout the whole city, $40 million to 9,000 stops? We were very excited at CB4 to hear that. I've worked a lot with Jesse Greenwald on that, and we kind of paired our energies and actually contacted the local politicians in our district who wrote a joint letter, and I think that may have, helped, bring more attention to the issue. But the point is that seats now will happen regardless if somebody said, oh, I noticed that I could use a seat. There's a bus, that I always take. It doesn't have to come anymore from the public. This is the plan. Is there a similar plan for the shelters throughout the city? Or you're saying that people have to request specific shelters at bus stops?
So we're evaluating seating as a whole. So every
Right.
bus stop will get some form of a shelter, seating, leaning bar. I think that if there are particular locations that you're interested in, we might be able to evaluate those more quickly for shelters. But everything is going to be evaluated for shelters, seating in over time.
Yeah, and if there's specific spots you'd like DOT to look into, you'd please reach out to the board office and we'll forward along to DOT. Okay, if we don't have anything else from the committee, are we generally supportive of the proposed stops? If so, does anyone want to volunteer to write a resolution and present it in our next meeting?
No.
Brendan, you're volunteering?
No, I'm not volunteering, but I do want to remind the committee that, I mean, I don't know how flexible DOT's deadlines are, but DOT generally only gives us like 45 days to respond to these bus stop applications.
Is that applicable in this case? Do we need a response in 45 days? Question for Colleen.
So it's usually within 45 days, but we always grant the community board an extension, I can let our bus stop management know that.
Okay, yeah, preferably we would not do it in our next meeting. We would review it in the next committee meeting and then we vote on it in the following board meeting. So that would get us into February, mid-February. That would be the preferable process. So if that works for you, that would be better for us.
I think that would be fine. That's fine. Patrick, are you okay with it? Because I can let bus stop management know.
Thank you.
Okay,
No
great.
problem.
Michael,
Perfect.
were you volunteering to write?
Yes, so is
Appreciate
the motion in favor of the bus stop?
Yeah, I think that's where everybody's on unless, yeah.
So when I'm writing it for the whereas points, what should I put on there, like, just the names of the streets and avenues that are gonna have the bus stop?
We can chat. We'll chat after. I think we have a previous resolution we could use as reference and we can chat. I think this maybe what Larry was about to add. Okay, we'll talk. And I know that we have another resolution we can model it off of.
Like, if you were gonna write this resolution, like, how would you start off?
But we could talk off after.
Yeah, we'll talk offline and I'll send an email to you, Michael, to Jason.
Yep, okay, thanks, Michael, appreciate it, and thank you guys for coming, I appreciate you guys coming in first.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and committee. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Larry.
Oh, buddies.
All right, moving on to our next agenda item. We have discussion of proposed conventional bike lane on East 17th Street between Park Avenue South and First Avenue. Colleen, I'll give you the floor.
Hey, I'm sorry, say that again?
The proposed conventional bike lane on East 17th Street and between Park Ave South and First Ave. Maybe we didn't align on having a presentation on that, or we could just talk about it if not.
Hi, it's not a presentation. What it is, we sent a letter to the community board about an upgrade that we will do along that area when we mill and pave that location in 2026. That's
Okay.
what it is.
Sorry, I thought we had a presentation lined up.
No, we don't have a presentation. It was more of an FYI in a letter.
Brendan, do you have the letter by any chance to pull up?
Just give me a brief moment. I should be able to pull it up.
Conventionally, a lot of connected bike lane. East City bike lane. Class 2 bike lane, effectively, if I.
Conventional.
Yes, which I think is class 1 is like Blue Sharrows and 2 is a like lanes, but in the roadway.
Okay, found the letter, I'm about to share it on. Here we go. Here's the third. I'll give them a little bit.
Thank you, Brendan. Okay, so, effectively, the street's being repaved. And, as part of that, DOT is proposing that they install a conventional, bike lane, so like in the roadway bike lane, in that space between, Park Avenue South, and First Avenue in this coming summer. Wanted to open up for any questions or discussion, about the proposal?
Why not just do the bike lane right and make it protected?
So, this is actually an opportunity for us to mark the roadway with painted lines and bike symbols, and actually look at, how, the traffic patterns are in there. There is a reason why we probably can't do a protected bike lane, because number one, it would require parking removal, looking at the parking along the corridor. And number two, I don't believe the street is wide enough for a protected bike lane.
Excellent. Larry, and then I'll come back.
Well, on the north side of Union Square on 17th Street, there currently is a bike path, and that is separated by planters from traffic. It really would be great to be able to go from First Avenue to Union Square via 17th Street with some additional protection rather than a conventional bike lane, which is dangerous. So that's why I support the prior comment that this really should be more closely examined when we're dealing with a blank slate, how we remark the pavement.
Right. And Larry, that's something that's a recommendation I can take back to the group and let them know, and we can look at that.
Right. And this is tangential, but I do want to raise the question of extending the 16th Street bike lane east of Union Square and running it over to First Avenue across Stuyvesant Square Park. Now that the hospital is closed and there no longer are ambulances on 16th Street between Nathan Perlman Place and First Avenue, that would really be nice. And it also would help students at the high school there to have this bike lane extended all the way to First. There really isn't anything going eastbound with this extension of 17th Street going westbound. It parallels the 15th Street bike lane. It would be nice to be able to get back to First Avenue.
Where does it end today, Larry? It ends on 3rd? Or at the park?
At the park.
At the park.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Union Square West.
Oh, it stops at, okay, so no, the sorry, 16th Street bike lane. It
Right.
stops at
Stuyvesant Square.
It's so between Union Square and Stuyvesant Park.
We'd like to extend it from Union Square East all the way to First Avenue.
Got it. So basically, you're only talking another block. Do I have that right? Between the
No,
park.
it's 3 blocks from First Avenue to Park Avenue South.
But is there already? So there's no existing bike lane on.
Not going eastbound. There's nothing going eastbound.
Okay, got it. Interesting. Okay, understood. Okay.
So I certainly welcome a bike lane here. It strikes me that committing to preserving existing parking is a constraint we're imposing on ourselves that is perhaps not necessary. And I would kind of echo other calls to look at the trade-offs that are being forced on this bike lane by the requirement to preserve existing street parking.
So I just want to add, it's not about preserving existing street parking. I think if we were to remove parking and do consider a protected bike lane, This is something that would have to be, of course, on the community board agenda. We just don't want to eliminate parking and not, inform the community of it. It's something that we, prefer to have on their transportation agenda. And I just want to add, like, the conventional bike lane, there are some benefits to it as well, where it improves cyclist visibility and it guides predictable movements. And it's, easy to implement. It's much faster to implement. And it's not to say that when we install the conventional bike lanes that we do not monitor, the bike lanes we do. We do monitor it and we see whatever improvements that we need to make. But we see this as an opportunity because we're going to be milling and paving the area. We think it's a great opportunity to improve the markings while we're, doing this.
Brock, do you think?
I did not know.
Okay, Michael?
Honestly, I agree with Colleen and DOT about this bike lane. I did my own research on it. And I think it would be good to not put the bike lane near in the end. But I think it'd be a good idea actually is to start with the standard bike lane and then see if it can be upgraded to protect the bike lane later. Because there is only so much room on that street. You have about 20 feet for the sidewalk, 20 feet for the sidewalks, and you have about 24 feet, and then you have about 30 feet for the road space. And it, 34 feet, about 20 feet, 22 feet on the sidewalk, or something about like that. And then it's not enough room to have both sides of the parking and the protected bike lanes. Because you won't be able to put a new floating parking lane with the existing street width. So maybe later we can modify the parking recommendation.
It doesn't necessarily have to be parking protected. We've got some other designs, with like.
Or
bollards or-
protected the bollards, either one.
Good.
This is coming in summer 26. Could we like revisit it after they've done what they need to do to propose both options of unprotected and protected? Like, why are we voting on it now in January if it's not coming into summer and there's still things that are unaddressed?
If I'll piggyback on that, what I would propose that we do, since it sounds like we generally would like to see a protected bike lane. And it sounds like the concern from DOT is that there would need to be a feedback and comment period, if there was a discussion to remove parking. So what I would propose that we do is, we write a resolution and we add a clear agenda item to our next meeting that we're discussing removal of parking in favor of a protected bike lane on 17th Street. We give the community that opportunity to provide feedback. We discuss a resolution where we're asking for parking to be removed in favor of protected bike lane and potentially pass that in committee and then full board. Would that address, Colleen, your concerns about, getting the public feedback, public comment, community board support?
And again, it's yeah, we want to, if we were looking to do a protected bike lane, again, we would have to do thorough analysis. We'd have to look at, the existing conditions, how this network, is going to be, how it's going to connect with other bike lanes in the area. The other thing we have to look at, again, the parking loss, if there is going to be parking loss, all those factors that we look into when we determine, the need for a protected bike lane in a community board. And of course, we'd have to if we were going to do this, inform the community. And again, the best way to do that is by having the community board support and putting this on their transportation agenda. But keep in mind that, a protected bike lane requires further studies. It's something that, we wouldn't be able to implement within, this year or maybe next year or so. I'm just saying we have to do our analysis.
Okay, we could potentially debate and or craft a resolution that either supports potentially supports a conventional bike lane, but asks for a study and we could wordsmith it in a way that maybe doesn't block progress, but expresses our preference. That would be my proposal for what we do as a next step, would be to write a resolution expressing our desire for a protected bike lane. And we could discuss it in our next meeting. Do we have
Yeah, and
feelings?
Jason, and Jason, that's fine. I mean, it's as long as it's on record, you know, that the community board supports the conventional bike lane, but has asked the DOT to study this further for a protected bike lane.
No, I guess that's an open question I
Yeah.
have. Do we support a conventional bike lane? I don't honestly know myself. I'm conflicted.
I don't actually know the true trade-off, like, is it a non-starter, could never happen in the summer protected, and therefore I might want a conventional to have something in the summer? But I don't actually understand the timeframes to consider between.
Yeah, maybe because I'm new, like it would be great to understand the studies and all the sort of back work that goes into it, just as transparency, as like, what is the timeline, and is this something that, you know, is something that I can learn more about and just understand and have the community understand like what it will take, and yeah, is it feasible, or should we just leave it unmarked?
Like, I guess I'll ask the committee if the only options were either no conventional bike lane, or this summer we would either have no conventional bike lane or a conventional bike lane. Do we support the conventional bike? Do we want a conventional bike lane?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
better than nothing.
Yes.
Larry, go ahead.
I propose that we make the ask for protected bike lane, but approve an interim conventional bike lane until that's been worked through and determined how to do it.
Thanks. B?
So I actually was going to say what Larry said, because I think we should move forward with the plans and then ask for the study for a protected bike lane. I don't think you start progress by asking just for the other.
I think also because DOT is coming to us suggesting this, that we're not saying like, oh, we want this and now we want this, like that, okay. This is okay, right?
Okay, so we'll work on a resolution for next month, expressing support for an interim conventional bike lane and asking for a removal of parking to accommodate a protected bike lane. If possible, with the protected bike lane before the conventional, if possible, allowing for the protected bike lane first. Does anybody want to write the resolution?
Please, I'm not gonna fight you over a resolution, absolutely not.
Thank you.
Brand resolution?
I will, Sean.
Okay.
Just noting, somebody in the public commented about parking for Mount Sinai on the area.
Doctor's office
Yeah.
there.
Which is also maybe interesting as to whether or not that's needed with Mount Sinai not being there anymore. I don't know. Okay. Moving on then. Thanks. Sorry for putting you on the spot, Caroline, but thank you.
It's okay.
Next we'll move on. 5, discussion of design of crosstown protected bike lanes. It's very topical. We have a resolution that was circulated. Brock?
Yeah, so this is, we have very good relationship with CB4 and CB5. We met with them again. And what can we do? We talked about 34th Street busway already. We talked about 42nd Street busway already. And we talked about crosstown bike lanes, and that our crosstown protected bike lanes. I don't know, Brendan, if you could put up those pictures.
Yes.
I sent you. So I know everybody wants the crosstown protected bike lane, but this is what our crosstown protected bike lanes look like right now. It's 26th Street protected bike lane, and then show the other one, which is 38th Street. So that's a 38th Street protected bike lane. So this is designated a protected bike lane. And so I just, I support this resolution. I'm gonna ask for another protected bike lane, but why do we want just more of this? So what this resolution is asking for is all of Midtown gets together and say, listen, we have 6 designated protected bike lanes, 26th, 29th, 38th, 39th, 52nd, 55th. Let's make them state-of-the-art bike lanes. When an inexperienced cyclist comes up to this, they shouldn't be facing this. If it's designated by DOT on the map as protected, when the cyclists get there, it should be protected. That's what this resolution is basically saying.
Questions, comments on the resolution?
How long did you wait to get these perfect shots?
That is all over Manhattan. You will see those shots.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1.7 seconds.
I'm impressed.
Any other questions, comments? If not, does anybody have a motion to adopt the resolution?
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Awesome.
All right, then we'll move to vote unless anybody has anything else to bring up.
Oh, I did have one question.
If you could change to just say CB6 when we actually,
Where is that?
you know. This is for the three community
Oh,
boards,
where,
where it says 4, 5, 6.
okay.
But yeah, if you change it here, you'll be changing it for everybody, but it's okay.
Are there any stats?
And then
or-
somewhere down low, it says that too.
What's the question?
Are there any stats around accidents or anything that could be cited or included?
It's a good question. I know that the Third Avenue protected bike lane on the Upper East Side decreased pedestrian injuries by like over 60%, and the cycling injuries by less than that, but double the bike volume. So the protected bike lanes are a very effective safety tool.
I think it would be good to add that somewhere in here, just so people have some kind of stat to refer to.
Yeah, fair.
Do you have a specific amendment?
Shoot, exactly what Brock just said. That it's worked somewhere else and it's shown to decrease accidents.
It's shown to increase cyclist and pedestrian safety. I think we did say there is something like that in there.
Oh, is there?
Whereas ensuring truly protected bike lanes improve safety not only for cyclists, but also for motorists, pedestrians, and delivery workers.
Okay.
You could just add a citation to the DOT report on Third Avenue. Or you wouldn't even have to add in one item.
We could do it offline, if we're aligned on an addition with some stat.
Well,
Okay, let's go to vote. Brendan?
Okay. So when I call your name, please say whether you're in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Michael Cohen,
in favor.
Pete Isman,
In favor?
Maya Donahue,
In favor.
Brock Friedman,
In favor.
Jason
In
Fromowitz,
favor?
Sean Lamoureux,
In favor.
Anna Picior,
In favor.
Marion Rowe,
In favor.
Larry Shire,
In favor.
Gabe Terzo,
In favor.
and Jerry Weinstein.
In favor.
With all 11 committee members in favor, this resolution passes.
All right, thank you. All right, next on the agenda, continue discussion of stop super speeder bills, which would install intelligent speed assisted devices for repeat violations of maximum speed limits. We also have a resolution that's circulated on this. Do you have any questions, comments on the resolution? Seeing none, do we have a motion? Michael?
I read the motion to vote on this.
Thank you. Seconded by Barack. All right, any other comments, questions? Then we'll go to vote.
Okay. So when I call your name, please say whether you are in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Michael Cohen,
In favor.
Pete Isman,
In favor?
Maya Donahue,
In favor.
Brock
In
Friedman,
favor.
Jason
In
Fromowitz,
favor?
Sean Lamoureux, Anna Picior,
In favor.
Marion Rowe,
In favor.
Larry Shire,
In favor.
Gabe Terzo,
In favor.
and Jerry Weinstein.
In favor.
With all 11 committee members in favor, this resolution passes.
Great, thank you. All right, let's look back to Colleen, report from the Department of Transportation. Did we lose Colleen?
Hey, I'm still here. Happy New Year, everyone. I just want to say, I'm sure most of you heard the good news. We have a new DOT commissioner whose name is Michael Flynn. Commissioner Flynn is no stranger to DOT. He worked with the agency in 2005. and then went on to work with Sam Schwartz and which became T.Y. Lin. And Commissioner Lin's first day it was today. So I'm sure you're going to see a lot of great things that he's going to be putting forth. He's already started making some great decisions about the direction of the agency. So we're very pleased with the selection. So I just wanted to share that good news with you. The other thing is just to let you know that our marking seasons have ended. I know we got a few requests from the community board about refurbishing some crosswalk markings, but that will be done in the spring because the thermoplastic doesn't adhere to the cold weather. So those markings will be done in the spring. And the other thing, Brendan and I have been working regarding a few street lighting outages in the community board. I want to say that we're making progress. And I just want to add that whenever we get requests for street light outages, it's always good to get the work order number because that is directly sent to the contractor. And we always encourage folks to call 311 and also, file that with them, let them know as well, because it gets directly routed to the contractor as soon as possible. But that's all I have for the community board at the moment.
Thanks. Questions, Brooke?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Zucker.
I just wanted to say hi. I won't take up too much time because I know it's late. But Happy New Year, everyone. I just wanted to stop by. It was great to hear everyone's reactions to our Park Avenue proposal. And, I'm excited to hear that people are interested in more rigorous bike protections on 17th Street. So looking forward to hear, what the community board has to say about that. I started a couple months ago. I'm making my way to the boards. I've worked with some of you already. And just wanted to come and introduce myself and looking forward to working with you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so number one, Colleen, I just want to thank you. You've been helping us with conflict points on Third Avenue. Just want to give kudos to Colleen there. One of the buildings was putting the dumpster in the bike lane. And so DOT talked to them and they reconfigured the dumpster so it had brakes on it so they could put it in the correct spot. So number one, thank you, Colleen. Number two, 3 days ago, Zoran Mamdani, the mayor, said that while he was interviewing Mike Flynn, he said, quote, we asked him meaning Mike Flynn, what will it take to make this city the envy of the world when it comes to our streetscape and our public transit? Was the question Mayor Mamdani had for Mike Flynn. And I just wanted to contribute that community boards 4, 5, and 6 already have joint resolutions for busways on 34th Street and 42nd Street, which would go a long way to making New York City Midtown the envy of the world. Cheers.
Sure, absolutely. And Commissioner Flynn is no stranger to, projects such as the busway, and he's a big supporter of it. So, which is one of the most, greatest thing ever. So, as he embarks on this new title, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of great things happening in New York City, without a doubt.
Real quick, and I want to thank you. This is not as lofty as Barack's, but I just wanted to let you know, I'm going to be reaching out to you tomorrow because my neighbor's at 21st and 3rd, an ongoing intersection you're very aware of. I have some additional concerns regarding the bike lane there and how it's being implemented and pooling in the asphalt. So I just wanted to let you know that that's ongoing.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, Colleen. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, move on to chair's report. I'm going to very quickly give a chair's report about congestion pricing. So today marks 1 year, since many of us were out in the cold, when the switch went on congestion pricing. So 1 year, there was a great article in the New York Times. Everybody should read it. Basically provides a ton of stats that prove that the program has been extraordinarily successful. To highlight a few, there are 73,000 daily fewer cars entering the congestion zone. Traffic's moving 4.5% faster, which we could debate whether or not that's a good thing in the zone, and 2.2% faster near the zone, which I'm sure everybody remembers. Everybody was forecasting that It'll be great for the congestion zone, but it'll be terrible for the surrounding. It's gonna be traffic up the east side. That has not been the case. Buses are moving 2.5% faster. There are 300,000 more daily subway riders. Central Business District visits are up by 2.4%. There are fewer noise complaints and there are fewer serious injuries from vehicle crashes. So, 1 year, I think, great results. None of the forecasted, what's the word?
Apocryphal.
Yes, there was none of the, virtually no downsides, have come from the program. And we've only seen extreme benefits. So everybody should check out that article. It's fantastic. I'd love to see if we could get MTA to come and present on some of this data and the findings on the program in a future meeting. We could talk about that. But yes, I just thought this was worth highlighting, and I think it's great. And that's all I have. Do we have any older new business? All right, seeing none. We have a motion to end the meeting. We have a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. All right. Seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:41 PM. Thank you, everybody.